We got a chance to speak to the creators of the brand new Apple TV Plus show, Sunny. Here now is our conversation with Katie Robbins and Lucy Tcherniak. Uh, Boy, have you crafted something that is super, super cool.
Oh, thank you.
I love the show. I binged it in one sitting. I was just telling Joanna and Annie that it has made me more suspicious of the world, which is what I think your intent was. My first question is for Katie, though. Every robot story, I guess, in the modern era has Asimov's laws kind of baked into it in some way.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how much of those three laws were a reference to you while you were creating this thing.
It's a great question. And I am admittedly not a sci-fi fan. So I didn't have a lot of like I read Asimov in sort of preparation for thinking about writing this show, but it wasn't something that was like deeply embedded in my kind of sort of psyche. So I thought a lot about like what rules I would want there to be for AI, and then kind of wrote it around that.
Okay. And Lucy, could you talk to me about shooting that Japanese aesthetic and what it does to your storytelling? Because as I'm watching Sunny, I immediately get this sense that I would feel very differently if it was set in Seattle or London or somewhere else. But being Japan, being Kyoto, it has a sense of place, I think, almost immediately.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, we shot the whole show in Japan. So I think that sort of authenticity of everything you're seeing within the frame, like, comes from that. And in thinking about kind of like the visual style, I had sort of a bunch of references, but one of them was definitely like these sort of Japanese 60s colorful noir movies. Seijun Suzuki was a particular reference. There's this film Tokyo Drifter that we pay
Which is great.
Particular homage to in episode 4 at the beginning. Yeah, so I definitely like conscious as a Westerner coming over and shooting a show that is, I mean, very international, but like wanting it to feel as authentic as possible. So yeah, I just was sort of doing like deep dives into those sort of movies in particular, and just taking a lot of like trying to have like a lot of conversations with all of our crew and our consultants to make sure that we were making things as authentic as possible, and it was feeling very specific to the world and the place. Yeah.
Also, given that you guys don't specify a time, Japan kind of works because every time I go there, it feels like I'm stepping into the future anyway. So
and also into the past.
Yes.
Like
and also into the past
at the same time. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We were very clear that we didn't want to date stamp it, so that we were very clear with like all of our art department that we never saw like a year.
We made up a year system.
Yes,
because
that's right.
Japan has a system of dating that is based on the emperor. And so we just created a date so that when we had to have a date on screen, it was a fake one.
Which was so rare, but when we did, it sort of made sense. And then again, like with the music, things like that, we didn't want to have any current tracks. We want nothing present day. That's one of the reasons that we went, also embracing this sort of whole tension between ancient and future, but that's one of the reasons we went to sort of 60s pop music for the tracks was again because we didn't want to date stamp it and sort of create this own specific world that was like its own thing. Yeah.
I've got 30 seconds very quickly.
Okay, go.
The anime inspirations behind Sunny's face. I think that was just a genius move. It works so well. Could you talk to me about that?
Yes, we worked with a Japanese designer called Shoko who created a series of eyes and we called them facial fonts. And so like all of the different robots, including Sunny, have like eyes and mouth that Shoko created that are inspired by Japanese anime and that have like a kawaii element to them so that they are incredibly expressive, but also like really emotionally accessible and cute. Like
and
somebody
simple
would,
as well. That was one of the
yeah.
challenges was creating like these simple, tiny elements that would translate emotion and humor and all of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? It's friendly, but also deeply suspicious. So it really
Yes,
works.
indeed. You never know what you're going to get.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm all out of time, but this has been an absolute pleasure, and congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much.
Sunny is now streaming on Apple TV Plus. Have you seen it? What do you think? Sound off in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.